Hello, my name is Yvonne, and I'm the creator of the Facebook group page JK Lifestyle and Travel. Today, we're meeting with Cynthia Walker. She's the founder and executive director of an organization called S.O.F.I.A. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Yvonne. Thank you so much for inviting me on this evening.
I'm glad you came. Could you tell me a little bit about your organization?
Absolutely. Start out fresh, intervention advocates, also lovingly known as Sophia, was created in 2009. 2008, there was a murder in Montclair. Monica Paul was gunned down at the YMCA
I remember that.
by her abusive boyfriend and father of her children.
Mhm.
And it shook the town. And a few months later, I met her mother at a township meeting. And Ms. Paul shared with me, there's just not enough resources for domestic violence victims. And I went home, I thought about it. My daughter had just turned 18. I always wanted to start a nonprofit. And I said, you know what? I think we're going to start this organization to bring awareness to domestic violence. So we started back in 2009, and here we are today. We started doing outreach presentations to educate the community. Then we started doing a support group. We have a variety of programs that we offer. We usually take crisis calls, although we are not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but we refer to the Safe House in Belleville in Essex County, which you had on last week, Delrina. She's fantastic. And we refer them to the Safe House. Once they go there, if they become a resident there and they come back out, they get their own apartment, then they can come back to Sophia and we will help them with their needs to furnish their apartment with necessities, beds, a refrigerator, dishes, things that we take for granted, silverware, things like that. We will help them furnish their brand new apartment. And then we also offer a variety of emergency needs funding. So if there's a victim that wants to leave New York to move to North Carolina to live with the family there because they're fleeing their abuser, we will help them pay for the U-Haul. That's just an example of what we've done in the past. So depending on the situation, we will assess it and do our best to try to help. We also do safe dating presentations. We go out into the community. We talk to our youth about healthy versus unhealthy relationships. We talk about how to support someone that you suspect is in an abusive relationship. And we have an awesome team of about 8 of us. And, the email goes out once we get the request to come out to, let's say, Montclair High School. We go out, we do these presentations, we give them information, we make them recite a safe dating pledge at the end. So we are more than happy to go out and educate the community about these topics.
What grades do you start at?
What age?
Yeah. What grades
We
do you start?
well, we have actually talked to preschool children about bullying, because bullying is another form of an abusive person. So a bully grows into an abusive person. This is my personal opinion. So we did do a daycare once, and then the youngest that we were asked to come and present to was middle school, grades 6 through 8. And then, we go on up to high school, college, and then adult groups.
One of the things that you were talking about when we were talking later, you mentioned, and I wanted to ask you, is why do people that are going through a domestic violence situation, why do they stay?
Okay, that is a great question, because a lot of times we don't understand, like from the outside looking in, all we see is the person being abused. So I have my little printout here because I just can't cram any other thoughts in my head at my age. And I'd like to be accurate with my information. So I like to refer to my notes.
Go ahead.
So the reasons why domestic violence victims stay in abusive relationships. They believe that their partner will change. So, okay, eventually they're going to figure out that they're treating me bad and they're going to change. So we love this individual. We just want the abuse to stop. So that's one of the reasons that we tend to stay in the abusive relationship. Another is fear of the abuser who threatens to kill the victim if abuse is reported to anyone, lack of emotional support. So you're constantly hearing, I will kill you if you leave me. So why would I leave? He's going to kill me. She's going to kill me. So that's another reason, fear. Guilt over failure of the relationship. If you have children, say you have 2 or 3 children, you try to leave the abuser, your children are going to miss their mom, they're going to miss their dad. So you trying to keep your family together. Again, you just want the abuse to stop. You're attached to your partner. You've been together 10 years, all of a sudden, your partner's being abusive. How do you cope with leaving this person? Feeling responsible for the abuse. A lot of times we tend to blame ourselves. Oh, I didn't do the dishes on time. Oh, I didn't have dinner ready by 7 o'clock. So I deserve to be screamed at or abused. So it depends on our background and how we grew up as a child. You feel helpless, hopeless, and sometimes you feel trapped. If you don't know there's any services out here to help you, we just stay. We just stay. Belief that we are the only one who can help the abuser with their problems. So if you love each other, you think that you're the only person that can help that person stop being abusive. So there's a variety of reasons why. The situational reasons is because of economic dependence. If you've never had a job, you didn't have your own income coming in, and the abuser is the primary source of income for the household, where am I going to go? I have to stay, especially if I'm driving a nice car. You know, we got food on our table, but unfortunately,
the bills are paid.
The bills are paid, you know. Fear of physical harm to themselves, the abuser, or their children. So a lot of times they'll threaten, if you leave me, I'll kill the dog. If you leave me, I will kill the children. So I'm going to stay. I don't want my child to die. I don't want to see my pet being hurt in any type of way. Fear of emotional damage to the children over loss of a parent. I mentioned that earlier. Fear of losing custody of the children. So I haven't worked in 20 years. I leave my abuser. The abuser has an annual salary of $100K a year. Who do you think the judge is going to give custody of the children to? The person making the money, right? These are just scenarios.
Why doesn't the judge say, well, they should be with the mother, just make him fork over a couple extra dollars for child support?
It's not that easy. It is not that easy. It doesn't work. It's frustrating. I get frustrated because of the system. So that's why I found myself focusing and streamlining what S.O.F.I.A does. All the legal system, the court advocate, I've learned to stay in my own lane. Okay. I'm focusing on awareness, prevention, healing, and education. You know?
And at a young age too.
Lack of job skills. Here we go. What if I never went to college or trade school? How am I going to make a living on my own? Social isolation, lack of support, because abuser is often the victim's only support system. We talked about that. Belief that law enforcement will not take me seriously. A lot of times when the law enforcement show up at the door, they usually blame the victim. Well, why didn't you do it? So that also is something that the courts are mandating, I believe, that they are teaching sensitivity training to law enforcement for domestic violence cases, which is a great thing. So our work isn't in vain. Lack of alternative housing, okay, I finally decide, you know what? I'm calling the safe house tonight. Hi, I'm ready to leave my abusive relationship. The safe house. I'm sorry, we're full. We can't take you. What do? I have to go back home. So there could be the chance that the safe house is full, or the one down in Morris County is full, or the one in Ocean County is full. There's that chance. Cultural or religious constraints, we were always taught, hey, work it out with your mate. This is what we do. We're Christian people. Things have to be worked out. So these are some of the reasons why victims tend to stay in abusive relationships.
How would you be supportive, or how can a person be supportive to another person that's in an abusive relationship?
Great question. So we talk about the do's and the don'ts. If you suspect someone is in an abusive relationship, you do want to approach the other person at a time and place that is safe and confidential. So don't approach them at the cookout, at the barbecue. Everybody's checking you out, Wait until that person goes to the bathroom and let them know, hey, I see something's going on with you. You could trust me. Call me when you can talk. Another thing we want to do is start expressing our concern. I'm concerned someone may be hurting you, and I'm worried for your safety. So put it on yourself, not, I see you got a bruise on your arm. Put it on yourself. I see that something's going on with you. You have to have that type of communication, because what's going to happen is the person that's being abused is going to cut you off, and you don't want that. You want to keep that line of communication open. Take time to listen and believe what your loved one says. Whatever they tell you, you must believe what they're telling you. Why would they lie? And just listen and be understanding and empathetic. Communicate that you care about them. You're concerned about their safety, and they do not deserve to be hurt. Let them know. You don't deserve this. It's not your fault. Tell your loved one they're not crazy, because sometimes we think, I'm crazy for staying in this abusive relationship. They're not crazy. Just let them know that you're not crazy. A person who has been abused often feels upset, depressed, confused, and scared. Let them know that these are normal feelings. Tell them good things about themselves. Always compliment them. Let them know you think that they're smart, strong, and they're brave. Their abuser may be tearing down their self-esteem. Okay, so try to be supportive of this person. Some things you can say is, you're not alone. I care about you, and I'm here for you no matter what. You are not responsible for what's going on. No matter what you did, you do not deserve this. And I know this is difficult to discuss, but please let me know when you could talk about anything. I'm here for you. So those are some of the things that we could say. These are things you do not want to do. Do not accuse, diagnose, or judge your loved one's choices. Do not draw conclusions about what they may be experiencing or feeling, and do not judge or criticize their abusers. A lot of times our brother says, you know what, I'm going over there to whip his. You do not want that, because what's going to happen is when you go home that night and it's just you and the abuser again, who's going to get hurt? The victim. So do not ever approach the abuser, because you're putting them on the spot, you're embarrassing them. And what they're going to do is they're going to take it out on the victim.
Mhm.
Never, ever, ever approach the abuser. Do not pressure your friend to leave the abusive relationship. When they're ready to leave, just be there for them. If they're going to call you 2 o'clock in the morning, when that other person goes to work, be there at 2 o'clock to pick up that phone. If you can't do it, just let them know, I'm sorry, I'm not available.
I was
If they're ready to leave, you have to be that person that they can depend on.
I was just wondering, what can you do? I mean, you want to be there for your friend, but you may not be in a financial situation where you can say, here, I can give you money for rent. Oh, you can come and stay with me in my
Mhm.
studio apartment
Right,
with
right,
the kids.
right.
So what can you do? I mean,
You can get on the phone with them. You can help make that call to the domestic violence organizations. The Safe House is a 24-hour hotline.
mhm,
And if they don't have room here in our area, they will call other locations throughout New Jersey to find space for you.
mhm,
So be that person that they can depend on. Like I said, again, if the abuser's going to work at 8 p.m., working overnight, and the person that's being abused says, I'm going to call you at 8:05 p.m. as soon as they go to work, let them know if you can answer the phone or if you can go get them.
mhm.
Because the victim knows the abuser's schedule, so they know when they could do or make their move, so just be that person that they can depend on when they are ready to leave. Also, say they leave and they end up going back after a week. Don't have that conversation with them. You shouldn't have went back. See what happened. Now you're going to be abused again. Just be understanding and say, hey, I understand why you did what you did.
Mhm.
Let me know what you need. I'm here for you. So these are things you want to do. You want to keep that communication open with the victim, because once they get up the courage again, we hope and pray that they're ready to leave. It takes an average of 7 attempts to successfully leave an abusive relationship.
I was
We
going to ask you, what does it take for a victim to finally leave?
Well, courage and strength.
Mhm,
That's it. Courage and strength, and knowing that they're going to be safe when they leave. That's why when you call the safe house, they have a criteria that you have to pass before they let you come in. If they let you come in and the abuser finds out through your brother, and they end up showing up on the doors of the safe house and putting everyone in danger, then they can't let you in. They have to make sure you're ready, you understand the criteria, you understand their rules, their regulations, their confidentiality. So they take you through a screening process before you can actually come and stay at the safe house. So I say strength and courage.
okay.
Strength, courage, and just love, knowing that you love yourself, you love your children, and prayer. Prayer
So
for strength.
when you go to these safe houses, you really can't tell anyone in your family where you are. You just say I'm
In a
someplace on
safe
the coast.
place.
Okay.
I'm
Mhm,
in a safe place. You may be able to communicate through a cell phone that they give you,
mhm,
but any way of being tracked to the safe house is cut off.
mhm.
So just be prepared to be with some people that are taking good care of you, love you unconditionally, while you're working out and getting your life together to live in a positive manner.
Okay, I'm interested in what you would tell um, children in middle school and in high school when they start dating. What do you tell them? What to
Well,
look for, what to avoid, you know. Yeah.
right. So when we go out to the schools and the colleges, what we do is we talk about the warning signs of an abusive person. And we use the website loveisrespect.org. There's a lot of great information on there. There's a lot of interactive quizzes that teens can take to see if they're in an abusive relationship. But some of the warning signs that we talk about is what an abuser would do. So abuser is constantly checking your cell phone, your email, they're stalking your social media accounts without your permission. They put you down frequently, especially in front of others. They isolate you from your friends and family physically, financially, and emotionally. You know, you and Linda been hanging out the past 10 years. All of a sudden, Linda's wondering why you're not coming around. More times than likely, Linda may be in an abusive relationship. So you never know. They isolate you, take your phone away, take your communication away. And next thing you know, you've lost contact with that person. Extreme jealousy and insecurity. They don't want you to be around other people. They're jealous if you just have a regular conversation with someone of the opposite sex. They have explosive outbursts, temper, and mood swings. You ever been with somebody, you guys are having a good time, next thing you know, they punched the wall. You're like, well, what just happened? Wait a minute. So those are the mood swings and the outburst. Any form of physical harm. Grab my wrist. Next thing you know, at work, I look and I'm like, wait, I'm bruised. You know, so any type of physical force or harm, beating, punching, pinching, anything like that. Possessiveness or controlling behavior. This is the whole domestic violence abuser. Their traits are to have power and control over you. And last but not last, and I'm sure there's more, pressuring you to have sex, for sex. Also, we have been receiving emails about training on choking. So what they do is they actually choke you until you pass out, and then they let go so you can come to. And I didn't personally take the training, but some of our advocates did. There are ways that people in the emergency room, doctors and nurses, know that you are being choked. Redness of the eyes, swellness in the jawline area, but there are ways of knowing when people are being choked. So those are some of the warning signs of an abusive person. And go to loveisrespect.org. They have amazing, great information. They have pop quizzes. They have materials that you could print out and talk to our youth. But they have great information. They did a really good job with that. Loveisrespect.org.